Plymouth at 5 degrees, Aberdeen at 8. That's not a typing error. Cornwall could end the week colder than the Scottish Highlands, and your area might be next. Is your region about to face a dramatic temperature flip that nobody is talking about right now? Across the United Kingdom, we've got Met Office warnings covering ice across Northern Ireland, England, and Wales, affecting millions this morning. Storm Chandra has battered the southwest with relentless rain and flooding, and the ground remains saturated from Cornwall to Devon. But here is what matters for the next 10 days. We are standing at a crossroads between more Atlantic misery and a potential February freeze that could transform everything. Drop your location in the comments right now, and I'll give you a personalised forecast in tomorrow's video based on exactly where you are. London, you are looking at temperatures around 7 to 10 degrees through Wednesday and Thursday, but that masks what's really happening. Manchester, similar story. 8 degrees midweek, but a cold front tries to push through Thursday night. Birmingham, you are in the battleground between milder Atlantic air and something much colder lurking to our east. Glasgow and Edinburgh, you've already felt that Arctic air brushing past 5 to 6 degrees, and you might get another taste early next week. Cardiff and Swansea, the southwest rain warnings continue Thursday afternoon into evening, another 25 to 50 millimetres possible. Belfast, ice warnings overnight into Wednesday morning, temperatures dropping to freezing where you've had heavy rain. Now, here's the critical detail. We are currently trapped in what meteorologists call a blocking pattern, and it's creating this relentless procession of low pressure systems. But wait until you see what the operational weather models are showing for early February. I'll come back to that in about 3 minutes, and it is genuinely fascinating. Wednesday itself looks relatively benign across most areas. After a frosty, icy start for many, we are in between weather systems. Some sunshine breaking through, scattered showers, nothing too dramatic. The rain across northeast Scotland gradually clears, though the mountains could still see a bit of snow on the higher ground. Temperatures struggling to around 5 degrees in Aberdeen and Inverness, 7 or 8 degrees further south in Newcastle and Leeds. Liverpool and Sheffield, you are looking at similar values, 7 to 8 degrees with some brighter spells developing. Bristol and Southampton, around 8 to 9 degrees, a few showers drifting through, but nothing persistent. Brighton and Dover, you might catch some sunshine between the showers, 8 degrees or so. But Thursday changes everything for the southwest. Another area of low pressure develops and tracks northeast, but critically, it is moving very slowly. The Met Office has issued a yellow rain warning for Cornwall, Devon, and parts of Somerset running through Thursday afternoon and evening. This isn't just inconvenient rain. We're talking about another 25 to 50 millimetres, possibly 75 millimetres over higher ground, falling on already saturated soil. Plymouth, Exeter, Truro, you are in the firing line from around lunchtime onwards. The rain intensifies through the afternoon, heaviest between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the evening. Flooding is not just possible, it's likely in areas that have already been affected by Storm Chandra. Bristol and Bath, the rain reaches you mid to late afternoon. Cardiff, similar timing, heavy bursts moving in around 4 o'clock. Swansea and Pembrokeshire, you are looking at persistent rain from early afternoon right through Thursday night. This is the 4th significant rain warning for the southwest in the past week. The ground simply cannot absorb any more water. Rivers are running high, drainage systems are overwhelmed, and this additional rainfall could push things over the edge. Meanwhile, further north and east, Thursday brings something completely different. An easterly wind tries to establish itself, dragging in colder air from the continent. Newcastle, Middlesbrough, Hull, you might see temperatures dropping to around 4 or 5 degrees with a distinctly chilly feel. There's even the possibility of some wintry showers mixing in, perhaps a bit of sleet over the North York Moors and the Pennines. Leeds and Sheffield on the eastern side of the Pennines, you could catch some of these showers too. Nothing significant in terms of snow accumulation, but it's a taste of what is sitting just offshore. Edinburgh and Glasgow, Thursday actually looks drier for you, around 6 or 7 degrees, but that easterly wind makes it feel colder. Inverness and Aberdeen, you are holding on to temperatures around 4 to 5 degrees. A few showers, wintry over the higher ground in the Cairngorms and the Grampians. London and the southeast on Thursday, you are largely dry until late evening when some of that southwestern rain could creep into Kent and Sussex overnight into Friday. Temperatures around 8 to 9 degrees, but becoming breezy. Now, let me explain what is happening at a bigger scale, because this is where it gets really interesting. We have high pressure anchored across Scandinavia, creating a blocking pattern. This block is preventing Atlantic low pressure systems from taking their usual track across Scotland and into the North Sea. Instead, these lows are being forced to take a more southerly route, coming up from the Bay of Biscay, which is why southwest England and South Wales keep getting battered. But here is the critical question: how long does this block persist, and what happens when it eventually shifts? The Met Office Unified Model, the European ECMWF model, and the American GFS model are all showing something intriguing for early February. Currently, they disagree on the specifics, which I'll explain in just a moment, but there's growing consensus that we could see a pattern change around the 8th to 10th of February. The GFS operational run has been consistently showing a scenario where that Scandinavian high pressure strengthens and expands westward, potentially cutting off the Atlantic completely. If this happens, and it's still a significant if, we to see northeasterly or even northerly winds developing, dragging Arctic air down across the British Isles. We're talking about temperatures potentially 5 to 8 degrees below average, widespread frost, ice, and the possibility of snow, particularly for northern and eastern areas. The ECMWF model shows something similar, but with less conviction. It develops an east-southeasterly flow first, which would be cold enough for some wintry weather, but not the deep freeze the GFS is suggesting. Then, towards the end of its run, around the 10th to 12th of February, it starts to bring in that colder northeasterly regime. The Met Office model sits somewhere in between. It's showing the blocks strengthening, cold air approaching, but with more uncertainty about whether it actually reaches us or just sits tantalizingly offshore. Now, here's where ensemble forecasting becomes crucial. The GFS ensembles, that S32 different model runs with slightly different starting conditions, show about 40 to 50% of members going cold or very cold in that early February window. That S, significant, but at S, not overwhelming. The ECMWF ensembles show similar uncertainty. Some members go very cold, some stay mild, and the average sits in a chilly but not extreme range. What this tells us is that early February could go one of two ways. Either we continue with this unsettled, mild, rainy pattern that S been dominating, or we flip into something much colder with potential snow. The confidence simply isn't there yet to call it definitively, but the fact that the operational models keep showing cold scenarios is noteworthy. We should know much more in the next 3 to 4 days as the models converge or diverge. There is another factor at play in the stratosphere. About 20 to 30 kilometers above our heads, the polar vortex is showing signs of disruption, with warming occurring on both sides. Some model runs show a potential split around the 2nd to 8th of February. When this happens, there is typically a 10 to 14 day lag before we see impacts at the surface, potentially bringing colder, more blocked patterns in mid-February. But let me bring this back to practical forecasts for the rest of this week and into the weekend, because that S what actually matters for your plans. Friday sees that rain across the southwest finally clearing eastwards. Plymouth, Exeter, Truro, drier conditions returning by mid-morning, though still rather cloudy. Bristol and Cardiff, the rain clears during the morning, some brighter spells developing by afternoon. London and the southeast, any early rain clears quickly, then a mix of sunny spells and scattered showers, temperatures around 7 to 9 degrees. Further north, Friday looks showery. Manchester and Liverpool, scattered showers, some heavy, 7 to 8 degrees. Leeds, Sheffield, Nottingham, a mix of sunshine and showers, feeling chilly in the brisk westerly wind, around 6 to 7 degrees. Newcastle and Middlesbrough, those easterly showers continue, still the risk of sleet or wet snow over higher ground, temperatures around 5 to 6 degrees. Edinburgh and Glasgow, showery on Friday, 6 to 7 degrees, the showers turning wintry over higher ground. Inverness and Aberdeen, you are looking at frequent showers, some heavy wintry over the hills, temperatures around 4 to 5 degrees. The far north of Scotland, Orkney and Shetland, you could see some more persistent rain or sleet, strong winds too, temperatures around 3 to 5 degrees. Saturday and Sunday maintain the unsettled theme. Low pressure brings showers or longer spells of rain to most areas, with snow over Scottish mountains. Temperatures range from 5 to 9 degrees, coldest in the north, mildest in the southwest. Cambridge, Oxford, Leicester and Coventry all see showery conditions with temperatures around 7 to 8 degrees. Southampton, Portsmouth, Bournemouth and Weymouth experience a mix of rain Saturday, drier Sunday, with temperatures around 8 to 9 degrees. For Northern Ireland, Belfast and Derry see sunshine and scattered heavy showers. Temperatures 6 to 7 degrees with lighter winds than Storm Chandra brought. Wales sees showery conditions across Bangor, Anglesey and Aberystwyth with temperatures around 7 to 8 degrees and breezy conditions from the Irish Sea. The Lake District and Cumbria see frequent showers, some falling as snow above 400 to 500 metres, with valley temperatures around 5 to 6 degrees. The Midlands, including Wolverhampton, Stoke and Derby, all experience showery conditions with temperatures 6 to 8 degrees. York sees showers throughout around 6 degrees and feeling chilly. Scarborough and the east coast continue with easterly showers, some wintry over the North York moors, temperatures 5 to 6 degrees. Now, at around minute 12 here, I want to circle back to those comments. Seriously, drop your location below. I read through every single one, and tomorrow's video will include personalized forecasts for as many of your areas as possible. It genuinely helps me understand what regions you want more detail on, and I can tailor the content to what matters most to you. One thing concerning me most is the stop-start nature of this pattern. Brief improvements followed by new systems prevent proper drainage in flood-affected areas. The Environment Agency maintains flood warnings across Devon, Somerset, Gloucestershire, and scattered Midlands and Northern England locations. These warnings continue into next week as existing water moves slowly through saturated catchments. Looking ahead to next week, Monday and Tuesday remain unsettled. Model agreement breaks down beyond day 6 or 7, with some runs keeping us wet and mild, others introducing colder conditions. By Wednesday to Thursday, the 5th and 6th, scenarios diverge significantly. The GFS shows much colder northeasterly flow with below-average temperatures and snow risk for eastern areas. The ECMWF remains cautious with cold air approaching, but not fully committed. The Met Office model shows elements of both. Keep plans flexible around the 8th to 10th of February as conditions could change markedly. There is one location I haven't mentioned much yet, the Channel Islands. Jersey, Guernsey, you are looking at a fairly wet end to the week with that southwestern rain affecting you Thursday into Friday. The weekend looks showery, temperatures around 9 to 10 degrees, slightly milder than the mainland. Into next week, you follow the mainland pattern broadly, though you are often a degree or two milder. The Isle of Wight and the south coast generally, Portsmouth, Chichester, Eastbourne, Hastings, you are all looking at a showery end to the week and weekend, temperatures around 8 to 9 degrees. That easterly influenced Thursday might bring some showers to Kent and Sussex, but nothing too significant. Penzance and Landis End, you are right in the firing line Thursday. Persistent rain likely causing further issues. The weekend looks better, still showers, but not the persistent heavy rain, temperatures around 9 degrees. Heading up the west coast of Scotland, Fort William and the Western Highlands, you are looking at frequent showers through the weekend, falling as snow above about 300 metres, temperatures in the glens around 4 to 5 degrees. The west coast islands, Skye, the Hebrides, very showery, quite windy too, temperatures around 5 to 6 degrees. The east coast of Scotland, beyond Aberdeen, Fraserburgh, Peterhead, you are in that zone where easterly showers could bring wintry weather to coastal areas if temperatures drop enough. Currently looking at 5 to 6 degrees, but that could fall to 3 or 4 degrees if the easterly flow strengthens. One thing that is absolutely clear from the model runs is that the jet stream is in a rather unusual position. Normally, we expect the jet to run across Scotland or northern England, steering Atlantic systems across the country from west to east. Right now, it sees split, with one branch running well to our north and another further south. This split is contributing to the slow-moving nature of these systems and the blocking pattern. If there is one thing to take away from this forecast, it is this. We are in a transition period. The current unsettled, mild, rainy pattern is getting tired. Something is going to change in early February. Whether that change brings us colder, drier conditions or just a different flavour of unsettled weather remains to be seen. But change is coming, and the next few days of model runs will be absolutely critical in determining which path we take. For tomorrow's update, I'll have the very latest model runs, including overnight data that isn't available yet. I'll also dive deeper into that stratospheric warming event and what it might mean for our weather 2 to 3 weeks from now. Plus, I'll be covering your specific locations from the comments. The forecast game beyond 5 to 7 days is always uncertain, and I think it's important to be honest about that. Anyone claiming to know definitively what's happening on the 10th of February is overselling their confidence. What we can say is that the ingredients are there for a potential pattern change. The models are hinting at it, and we need to watch developments closely. Thank you for watching, and please do drop your location in the comments. Knowing where you are watching from helps me tailor these forecasts to cover the areas that matter most to you. Tomorrow's video will be out at the usual time, around 7:00 in the evening, with all the latest updates. Stay safe out there, especially if you're in flood-affected areas, and